My name is Roger Warner and I am Chair of the Social Media Council at the DMA. The economic outlook for social media is an odd one, really. I mean, our company and many of the other firms that we compete with have only been going about 3 years or so. So we started, I think, the day after Lehman Brothers went bust at the height of the credit crunch. So we don't really know what normal is like. So we're in a bubble in the middle of a recession, and I think next year is probably going to return to a bit of, or there'll be a bit of normal for us as things begin to even out, because people are more understanding of social media and they've been doing it for a while now. So I think briefs, budgets, plans and whatnot will settle down and we'll begin to see what normal means. So they're kind of like the first herd, the rush to social media is over, and we'll begin to see a bit more sort of calm in the way that people are buying and using services like ours. I hate making predictions, but so I think I kind of like making anti-predictions. Well, not anti-predictions. I think in line with a bit more sanity in the marketplace. I think there's going to be a lot more rigorous thought applied to measurement and the way we evaluate social media, and that comes with more learning and experience and understanding. So I think hopefully we'll lose the quest for the mythical ROI of social media, which doesn't really exist to my mind anyway, and we'll look at more specific ways of measuring the value of social against things that we have always done and which marketing budgets have always existed for. So hopefully we'll be looking at better ways of evaluating what does social do to traffic or brand awareness or sales, heavens. And so on, as opposed to looking at social media as its discipline in and of itself, because it's all pervasive. Social is everywhere around us, and trying to look at a measurement value for social on its own, I think, is a little misguided. Investment in social media, I think, I explained a moment ago that things beginning to calm down and having very definite areas of needs and requirement and services. So consulting, brand-based campaigning, PR, creative, etc. There will still be investment and development in technology, and we see a lot of great things happening in the realms of startups, smaller companies who are doing fantastic things with mobile apps, Facebook apps, and so on. But I think that's from a service provider's perspective. From a development and a vendor perspective, there's a lot of fantastic things happening in terms of, if you look at the technology layers which are happening now, I find that very interesting. Networks have settled down, so we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, and there's then beginning to be a whole stack of innovation on top of these things, things like Foursquare and others. Now we're beginning to see sort of aggregations of aggregations on top of that. So there's a lot of innovation in terms of product and user experiences and value propositions through things happening on top of network. The important things, not necessarily the trendiest or the most innovative, the things which will matter to most brands will be the consolidation of networks. So Facebook is bigger than the world, and so therefore we must abide by Facebook. But so looking at what Facebook is doing in terms of development is really interesting, and the user experience is changing quickly. They've evolved rapidly to incorporate some more functionality, probably provoked through Google's advances in the area. But if you look at the way the Facebook user interface is shaping up, it's going to become actually harder and harder over time for brands to stay relevant, to be front and center on a user's timeline. Consequently, advertising is going to become more attractive, and so brands have to figure out how to, if they want earned media, i.e., being in someone's social space and being talked about, they're going to need to figure out how to do that when it's becoming increasingly difficult to, because the algorithms that Facebook is using and the way that Facebook is presenting this information is kind of pushing lots of things to the margin. So. But that's good, because we have to do better work, and we've got to realise that our competition isn't every other brand under the sun. We're competing with you in my timeline, my mother, my sister, my friend, my colleague, what's happening at the weekend, and so on. And so brands will get smarter about what they communicate and how they communicate it. And it's going to need to be bigger, better, and badder than, hey, how was your weekend? It's got to be pretty compelling stuff. So I think look at Facebook and how the Facebook is developing. That gives you a guide on how we're going to be doing our work next year.